we leave it there, but we don't touch it until we know we've got the
6
money.
shares would be
Well,
30,
Then-
correct?
Mayor, there was one other
I don't know if
thing,
they do those in.
Well, yeah, I can't do it in my head.
there was one other thing that was identified that I don't think, I think it's a wash, but you've got to explain. And that was the 160,000 for the parks, for the lights, fields,
Yeah.
blah, blah, blah.
What that
Can you
is,
explain that?
you wanna go ahead?
Yeah, I mean, this was monies that we received back that was put into escrow for Two Club Golf, that we received from Two Club Golf
right,
for taxes that we didn't have to actually spend.
right.
So therefore, I feel that any dollars that came out of the parks need to go directly back into the parks. And therefore, what I'm recommending is that the sign coming into Longwood Park, that be for the sign for the base, also for the lighting at the ball fields, for the dugout concrete, and the remainder of money goes towards starting to continue to improve the pathways through the woods there, because that seems to be a high priority for a lot of people that walk the parks. So it's monies that were generated from the parks going back into the parks.
It was generated from True Club when they failed.
It's the property tax.
It's not when they fail, it was held in abeyance, if you remember.
Right, they were setting it aside,
Right.
right, I remember, and it wasn't actually True Club, it was their
Right, until the
successor.
case was
So
decided.
there's not actually an account that has that money in there?
Yes, there is.
Yes,
It's Fund 206.
yes, we have the funds and we receive it.
We can do,
And you're asking
are
to
we
transfer
restricted
to
on what we
capital
can do with these
improvements in
funds?
the park.
No, what
Capital
I think we're
improvements.
gonna, we're not gonna, we're gonna reimburse, we're putting it in Fund 204, which is Parks and Recreation. So we're gonna pay for the dugout and stuff like that out of 204. And I have to show in 206 a reimbursement to Fund 204.
But the important question from our standpoint is, this is, if we decide this is the way to go and it makes sense to me, it's budget neutral.
Yes.
He didn't know that there was
And
actually
we can
a
start
budget.
making some improvements to the park, and I particularly think the trails would be a great thing. People
Well, I
would
think
read.
everybody agrees with
And the
that.
160, your goal was to use that for dugouts, trails, and
Lighting.
Lighting on the wall
The
diamonds.
digital
Are we
sign.
talking about lighting at night now? Because there's always been some,
Well,
been a
this
lot
would
of
only be
hostility.
event lighting, so in the event that they have a game that goes into the night, that the lights would go on. But you have to remember, when we built that square tower, all of the undergrounds were put in for all of the lighting out there, and all the power was put into that building. So all of that infrastructure is already in place.
are we talking one field, two fields?
All 4 fields, I'm hoping to light them up.
That's,
We'll see if
that's
it
pretty
covers.
expensive.
plus, well, we do as many as you can, but you wanted the
I'll do as
dugouts.
much as I can, but I have ways and thoughts of how to,
Well, they were
make things
extracting
happen a
huge
little bit
numbers.
Why don't you want me to hold a flashlight?
well,
Well,
The
that's-
cars, gotta get the
If there's
cars.
40 of us out there with those big lights.
But you have to see that in Fund 206, you're gonna see an expenditure of 160, which is the reimbursement to 204.
But it's the money
And then you
we've
have to
got,
see the expenditure of 204.
but it's the money we received from Two Club.
Yes.
Well, the money that's been hanging around from Two Club. So going back to the park is very logical, because it's the park that generated it.
Right.
It's the park that we get some things, some good things out of that development. And then as long as we put some money towards the trails, I don't have a problem with it, because the trails are just atrocious.
And we have a rental agreement with Windmill Club, that if they extend it past 2016, we could potentially get continuous rent from them, and additional money, so
So it's up this year?
I think it's up this
yeah, I
year.
think we probably have to set the.
Mark and I are working on, he's actually working on trying to contact them because they still owe us money from 2011.
Who
The Two Club people,
The original
not
Two
Windmill, yeah.
But not with.
Well, I don't know.
Okay.
Yeah,
that's
you don't
good.
know the difference,
But you're gonna be in discussions with Windmill to keep them, because,
Yeah, I mean, I think it's a great asset for us. I think we need to continue to have them. I think it's a recreational tool there that's up there, and I would hate to see the driving range. I think that's probably one of the bigger money makers.
Oh my gosh.
That's the only thing that's making money
the
there.
thing is crowded to an nth degree. And then the kids program, because I talked to them about the first
The outdoor.
First club or whatever it is, there's a kids golf thing that I got involved with through Firestone, and they hooked up with them, so they now do kids. They really have gone after it, but I don't want to own the golf course back, that I have to maintain it.
Well, that's the.
Yeah, that's where it would go though, if they decide not to.
Well,
We don't find
we oughta
someone
To be
else.
the bearer, that driveway needs a lot of work too, that driveway is in disrepair.
Well,
That's so,
well,
Okay.
able to do that.
So if we finance
There you go.
the fire medic, let's just say over 4 years,
Yeah.
I could potentially add back
Go first.
217,000 to Fund 401, which then means I wouldn't have to transfer money from the general fund to cover the skid steer.
Well, leave it there until you get the final.
Yes.
And then if you get the final, we put it back in general, because we're gonna be back together again in a couple months to say, how we doing? Is there anything else we can't do?
So am I adding the skid steers, the 2 skid steers financed, and then the add-ons?
Over 4 years?
Yes.
add-ons, the add-ons this year.
The skid and
I'm good with that.
the truck?
They're both skid steers, just one has tracks
Yeah, I'm not trying.
for off-road.
Okay, you better
one's
better
up.
see
The
some
one
bolts
on the
fixed real
tracks has to go
fast,
into the
especially
parks
on
because
bark
you
belt.
otherwise can't do those trails.
Are we passing the budget then as we see this exhibit here, or after you make the changes?
As amended, yes, I'll make the changes. But I don't want to make the changes.
Well, there's
No, I
only one,
understand.
how many changes are there? There was
Well,
one.
Oh, I'm actually just adding the skid steers right now, right? And adding the, well, we're not
You're
doing
gonna add that one,
certificates, so.
that, 7, or that 19,000 to.
But that's to revenue, that's not, has nothing to do with tonight's
The
budget. We're only doing-
expenditures.
So,
This is just.
no, I'm
revenue.
just trying to understand if we're
Passing it as. Right.
this or as just a giant, so much to each
Yes.
department. So we're doing the detail, that's all I want to know.
No, we're not doing the detail, the ordinance is gonna look like,
That's what I want to know.
yeah. It's in total, the same line items, but it's not by line item.
Let me see,
Yep.
why don't we pass it by line?
Because that's a painful 55 amendments last year,
So-
we did by
Well,
line
I
item.
It's by personal services
really
and
had
then
some
other
difficulties.
expenditures for a total. So this total will then agree to the total that is in there.
We're going back to the way we used to do the budget.
No, I understand.
years.
Well,
Well,
actually, that's not true. We changed it at one point from all the detailed line items to those summary items.
I'm just suggesting
Yes.
that we should do it,
Yes.
the line
You're
items
right.
we did last year. I understand that it's an inconvenience, but I think that, it helps us with
Which
tracking.
one are we approving?
And,
Well, we still get the monthly report that you can track by department. That's where we kept finding things were 90%, 100%, we had to go put money in. If you don't do it by line item, the department head goes back to the way it was, where they are responsible for all their line items. If they find, and I'll bring up the jailers, the meals. If John found he's at 90% against for meals and needs money, he looks within his own first to see, can I care for that without having to ask for any more money? I think it puts the responsibility back to where it belongs, which is department heads. We write the check. And yes, we look at the monthly reports. And yes, I looked at every monthly report and be the one writing the list of things that had bit the budget. But they had no capability to move money within their own department, which, they're hired as a department head for a reason. So Mayor, unless you have something else,
I'd like to make a comment on that because I think that is completely off course of the reality. The department heads are always responsible for budget execution. I mean, there's no question about that.
I don't disagree.
And if all that's happening is we pass it in detail, then, that doesn't absolve the department head of managing their budget. All it says is, if they're going off course, they need to come and tell us they're going off course, and we'll make an adjustment. Most of the time, people should know, as a department head, exactly in detail where they're going to be at any point in the year. We had some changes that were down to the, $300 level, and I don't think we needed to do that. I think they could have been done quarterly, and we would never have gotten there. So all I'm saying is, this way, we know exactly how the expenditures are tracking to the total detailed budget. Otherwise, we're getting the financial reports, but we don't know, then we gotta figure out where did they move it, and why did they move it? And I
But
just
it's
think
within their own department.
Well,
So if the bottom line is they have 100 grand,
well,
and
that's
within
what
their
we're
department, they
saying.
moved 300, why do you really care if there's still
Well,
100 grand?
Well, what I'm saying is this, we might care if they're moving from a line item that we don't think it should be moved from, or we want to, we have a different
But what if it's
priority.
that's the department
Well,
head's
no, it is
decision.
not,
Why is
ma'am.
it yours? You don't run that department.
We
How can
don't
you say
run-
to John Golden,
You
you
know,
can't pay,
It's-
At the state level, do you think that the governor gets a line item budget? No.
No.
Well, no, he has somebody tracking all of that for him, that's right.
Does the
But-
county have a line
They
item?
give them a budget and they say, please stay within your budget, as every government body that I know, and I've never done a line item budget.
we
In all
have-
the years that I was mayor, and nor previous mayors that I know, of, in other communities.
I am just
This
saying,
is
there's nothing terrible
Sylvia,
about this.
This is a way to just tie the hands of the administrator. If you want to tie the hands of the administrator,
So if
that's
we,
what happened with the past administration. His hands
They
were
weren't, they
tied.
had no hands.
Every time they needed to do something, they have to come running back to council. It made life
again, it's not
miserable.
lying.
I mean, it's just not the way you operate a city.
Well,
The city needs,
Joe,
the
that's
mayor
an
gets,
opinion.
the mayor gets elected by the people.
Yes. It's
You're a
a-
legislative body. You give me a budget, you say you gotta operate within this budget. And I say, okay, I'll operate within this budget. Give me the dollars, I'll operate within
That's
the
what we're
budget.
talking about.
So I am.
Money.
But line
Yeah.
item budgets are not what
How to,
is.
Well,
what
that's
is
an
intended.
opinion that
That's
you
my
wanna
opinion.
have, you wanna have more flexibility,
you could do that.
and
Exactly.
we
And
want
I
to.
do.
We'll go for
And
it.
that's
I
exactly
understand
right.
that's
I know
true.
this too.
That doesn't mean necessarily that the council
Well-
shouldn't have a line item budget.
I understand how you think about that, and I think if you were sitting in this chair, you certainly wouldn't want.
Well, no, I am not concerned about
No, I
it,
know.
because the plan would be to lay it out. Now, we've got a very squishy budget at this point, because we don't know this, we don't know that, we're gonna.
We're all elected
we're-
officials here,
it's
and we all
800
represent the people.
800,
And I'm just
all
trying to take
representing
a-
them, yeah.
and I'm
We got
gonna try-
800,000 more this year, and somehow in the operating without even worrying about
Well, we have
transfers.
explained that, so.
Well, no, we
Yes,
haven't.
we.
You've said what you've said, I'll say that. but-
Okay,
But-
let's put this back to Rhonda is going up to make the changes. So when we're done with don't leave, we're going to the
Gotta stand
revenue
up.
discussion, because we do have to talk about, I think it became evident, we have no way to create 800,000 unless we don't hire, period. So one of the things we started talking about, which the mayor had broached the subject when he had proposed the 0.25%. Thank you, that's exactly what we need, a tax reduction. So Rhonda provided us, you should have two things that look like this. One says various possibilities for August ballot, and then the other one says safety forces and service per home versus property taxes. So Mayor, since Rhonda went upstairs to update the budget for us, can you speak to, in whichever one you want to speak to, tell us which page we're on so we can
Yeah,
follow.
I'm trying to find that document in itself, because I actually just provided that today. Got it. Let's see, where is that? Where is it? Rhonda, keep on going.
Do you want it? I have it, if you want mine.
Here it is.
Are you looking for this too?
You got it.
Is this over here?
The one before that, too.
Okay, I think I got it.
No, you got it.
Yep, it's that one and the one I think it's probably in front of you. Let me see.
That's this one? Oh, no.
No, it's this one. Yep,
Okay.
it's that one. And then there's, right behind it is probably this one too, that she gave us. So, thank you, sir. It looks so much better on plan.
Well, first of all, if you go to the sheet that was, that has at the very top, it says safety forces and services per home versus property tax. What we essentially did there is we took what it cost us to operate the police department in 2015 with dispatch service, and we put a total of that, same with fire and dispatch service for their portion of the dispatching. Then we put the service department, and then we came up with a total for all of that, which comes out to $9,959,426.